Welcome to Unstoppable Consciousness, friends and family, and all kinds of other people in between. How are you doing today? I'm very excited about today's show. I have a fellow clairvoyant on the scene today. Klara B, welcome to the show. She's a clairvoyant and a holistic practitioner. We're going to talk about elevation, consciousness, and everything else that we can come up with to share. I want to make sure that people understands the power of your work and the power of this consciousness reality that we're living in and how so important it is for the world at this time. Welcome to the show. Lovey, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Me too. I'm like, this is going to be fun. Oh yeah, this is going to be
Very
fun.
excited.
Yeah, so I know you're an entrepreneur and you've had to build your business and share your gifts to the world. And so I really want to start with this conversation about how did you know about your gifts? Like what pushed you to be in a position where you're an entrepreneur in this business of helping people heal and helping people find transitions and transformations and using your gifts to do it? Like, what was your call? I love talking about how did it happen? Because usually it's a complex scenario. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I've always been very inquisitive in my mind, very curious person by nature. I guess that's the Scorpio in me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I always love to kind of look in depth in topics and find new things that are a little bit different than the norm and what's presented to us. And so I've always had that mind. But my journey actually began when one of my friends had introduced me to this school called NHC here in
I
Montreal.
remember that one.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful school, and it's unfortunately closed now. But that was like my safe haven. Like it was such a beautiful place
Yeah.
to go to. And
Yeah.
when I was presented with that, it was kind of like, well, Klara, you kind of look like you'd be interested in this. Maybe you should just come and check it out. And the school had many different topics that they would teach, from massotherapy to natural therapy to energy works, like so really big variety. And that's what I
Mhm.
loved about it. And I started actually with a course called Healer Heal Thyself.
Oh, nice.
And when I started, I remember my teachers would say things about the course, and I would feel like they were so vague in the way that they would say things. And I was like, what are they talking about? I came from a very logical, skeptical mind, and
Yep.
it's like, it can't just be yes. It was never like a yes or a no. Everything was a, well, why don't you try and see? And why don't we, like, and I was like, what? These people don't know what they're talking about. And
Mhm.
so it's like my journey started there to actually dive in deeper and to see like the duality of this world, and to see the nuances, and to see that it's not necessarily about having answers, but it's actually about the journey of it, right? So it
Mm.
kind of started from that. But when I was younger, also, I had a huge imagination or perception.
Yeah.
And I used to see a lot of things around me that would scare me. Um,
Mhm.
and no one around me believed me. It was, oh, you're a kid, it's your imagination. It's kind of
Yeah.
like most people. And so when I got into these courses, some of those courses were also about energy work. I started doing that, which I absolutely loved, because it's like, why, if we have all of these abilities within us, why are we not using
Mhm.
this? Why is this not popular? Why is this not, everybody needs to know this? Why isn't
That's
it
right.
out there? So it was just so fascinating for me. And there was also a course on clairvoyance, and that literally did not interest me. I was like, I
Okay.
was like, I don't believe in this. This is not
Mhm.
for me. This is fortune telling. I don't care for it. But I did the course anyway because I wanted to accumulate credits. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I remember going into it and my teacher going like, wow, you read like so fast. I'm like, no. I'm like, no. This
Right.
is this is totally me making this up. And she goes, no, you don't understand. You're reading very clearly and very fast. And so she started filling me up with higher level people, and they were like, no, you're really good. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't think so. I think this is just, one of those things that's, your belief, it's not mine. And it took me so long. And then we had to do case studies to finish the course, and it was like, okay, people would come and, okay, I'm going to do a reading, strangers, I don't even know them, so I would do a reading, but really nonchalantly, like I really didn't care for it too much.
Yeah.
I just wanted the credits. So I was like, my skeptical mind, right?
Yeah.
And the rational mind that needs results. So they would come and be like, oh my God, that was so good. Could you read my mom too? And could you read my brother? I'm like, guys, no, I really don't want to do this. Please, please, please. Fine. And so it started by me always saying, fine, I'll do it. And then the next thing you know, I have this, I'm back to I'm basically full 3 months ahead of time. I'm doing my IT job, which is what I was doing before.
Yeah.
I was doing IT job in the day and energy work
Everyone's
at
at
night.
night. Yeah. Yeah.
So and it took me a long time to trust the process, because and I see this often in society, we're so skeptical. Everything is like
Yeah.
facts and science, and it needs to be right in front of you. Whereas life doesn't work that way.
No.
Life doesn't work with that kind of stuff, because we think, oh, we know, but there's a big difference between information and knowledge. Knowledge it can only come from the source. Knowledge can only come from the universe, from the source of creation.
Yeah.
Information is just information that we gathered through our own, science or observation or whatever.
That's right.
But even the facts that we know are not even facts, because they can all be disproved. There's just so much that we try to understand with our minds, but our minds are not meant to understand things about life and creation. We're not programmed to be knowing that. That only comes through the heart connection to the universe. So if we're connected to that universe, then we're receiving that knowledge. And the information is just this, 3D, in this 3D realm.
That's right.
And it gives us a sense of comfort. And it's just for that. Well, while everything is, there's actually no sense of stability in this realm at all, but we create these scenarios that give us a sense of comfort or foundation or something to hold on to. And this is not a reality, actually. Actually everything is malleable and changing, constantly moving. So it was a big paradigm shift for me. And it took me years of just going deeper and deeper into this. And the more I went deeper, the more my abilities developed. Things I never knew I could do started to happen to my body, healing myself, just beautiful opening. So I was just a regular person.
Yeah, that's right. You're like, oh, and I bumped into my purpose. Wow. Okay. Curiosity brought you there. Right.
It found me. I really was, like I said, I was not interested in clairvoyance. I thought it was just hocus pocus stuff. And it was like, anybody could just create something. And if the mind believes it, then, it's going to, I would make up these things in my mind until miraculous things would happen. And I would still deny the miraculous things, trying to find excuses for it. And at some point, something in me is like, okay, Klara, you got to give it up. Like, give it up. This is another level stuff, and you cannot use the very humanistic ways of seeing something that is beyond, above and beyond humanity, above and beyond everything that we see around us.
Yeah, it's so funny. So I first of all, I love hearing what you're saying, because we're similar in the way. Like I was like, no. Like, really, I'm not doing this, because I grew up similar to you. And I was like, I could see all this stuff. And I was like, I don't like this stuff that I see. So I just don't want anything to do with it. I would have premonitions and things started to, and then you're just like, how do you deal with this realm of consciousness that's finding you and showing you? And then how do you make sense of it and deliver it to people to help them? Because oftentimes people are afraid. This has been my work, and I'm sure you have this experience as well. Like, clients will come and they're terrified of their own power. They don't realize how unbelievably aware they could be of guidance that's available by going in, by releasing the obstacles that prevent them from hearing their own selves, their own levels of consciousness. And so I find this so interesting, because the conversation, like when I could talk to somebody who gets all that, I always get excited, because it's like you're helping people turn the key onto what they already are that they don't realize they are, right? So I'm curious about sharing with the audience, like, what are some of the baseline work that you do, like really, like what does a person do? Like where do they start shifting their perception and their consciousness? Because as a healer and as an energy person, the work you're doing, I understand it. I worked with you too, and you're amazing, absolutely extraordinary, and phenomenally able to connect some dots and make sense of stuff for people. But like often people don't know how to be empowered themselves. So although they need an expert in the field, or they want to work with somebody like yourself, they're like, okay, like I need the extra support. There's also like we have to, as a community of souls, find our way back to our center point and find our way back, or open the doors to this third dimension through ourselves. Like to me, that is the key to consciousness raising, right? Is like when we unlock our own doors, we open that conscious portal, which actually brings the energy around us, which we can then spread out in the world a little bit more deeply, right? What if there's some of the things that you find really help people to start that process of like, hey, you're an energy being. Let me help you figure out how to bring that into your world. Apart from you're healing them, you're helping them understand, releasing obstacles and blocks. But like, what do you suggest a person start with? Like, what do they do at this point? Like, yeah, we have a new person listening going, you guys sound amazing. Like, what the heck? How did you find your purpose? Like, that's unbelievable. What do we tell them? How could they start?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. And I think it's something that everybody should at least be inquisitive about, even if it's not necessarily something you want to actively do. I think it's really worth it to discover that part of you coming up to surface. But, you know, the way I always say it is like, it's so hard for oneself to sometimes gain clarity because of the mind
Yeah.
and the thought patterns, the belief systems that are taking over and kind of taking the wheel on certain things, or keeping us in these rigid cycles. And when we're in it, we don't often see it. And it's always like easier for somebody outside of ourselves to be able to say, hey, look what's going on here. Because when you're in that cycle, you may not see that that's what's happening, but somebody
Mm-hmm.
from the outside will be able to check it out and see, okay, well, this is what's going on. So this is why I like my clairvoyance. When I do the clairvoyant work, I use
Mm-hmm.
it almost like a tool to say, okay, what do you need to know right now?
That's right.
What is it that needs to
Mm-hmm.
come to surface in terms of what is not functional in you anymore? What
Mm-hmm.
are your strengths and weaknesses? What is it that you are not seeing and you keep repeating all the time? You know, all of these, like all of these different elements about you that you need to kind of be acknowledging and seeing, so that
Mm-hmm.
when you know it, you go, oh, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now I have some sort of a direction of where I can start with and where I can go with this. So it helps to have someone from the outside. And it doesn't have to be a clairvoyant. It could just be a friend, even, to say, hey, you know what? I've noticed
That's
that
right.
this has been going on a lot with you. You're in this
Mm-hmm.
relationship, you keep attracting the same type of guy over and over again.
Different
How,
face.
you know, how it's so weird how it's copy pasted the same guy. All the what's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, is this something that has a problem? You know, is this a problem that has to do with your relationship to your father? Is this you
Mm-hmm.
seeking your father in other men? What is
Mm-hmm.
going on here? So, you know, like completing the void. So it's a little bit of like the energetic world, to be able to kind of gauge where the energy is at, but
Mm-hmm.
also the psychological world to be able to give perception, and perspective on what exactly is happening
Mm.
psychologically, neurologically in
That's
your
right.
mind. So it's really, that's why I say I do holistic work, because holistic means we're looking at all angles: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, so that all of that, when we look at it as the bigger picture, then we can see, oh, okay, I see why this person has this illness and behaves this way in this relationship, because they're all related to this root. So that's what we're doing here. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's not necessarily you need someone. You can do this self work, but like I said, it's harder because the mind
Of
gets in.
course.
But what I would suggest for people is to start writing. Write about your daily emotions, write about what's going on. How do
Mm-hmm.
you deal with things? Or
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself the question, when you talk to someone or argue with someone, why did I say that? What made me say that?
Mm.
What am I uh, waiting as a result? Or what is my underlying message? Like, so
Yeah.
when you're angry at somebody, for example, and you say, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, but that's not what they're actually mad at. What's the underlying message? Well, the underlying message is maybe you are not giving me enough attention. I need
Mm-hmm.
more attention from you. So,
Mm-hmm.
like just writing and noticing these things, or just noticing as we're talking and asking yourself, okay, why did I say it like that though? Why did I use this intonation when I said it? Why did I walk away from the situation? Do I always walk away when it gets
I
difficult?
love it. Yeah.
So questioning everything. And unfortunately, the schooling establishments, it hasn't been doing a great job, in my opinion, to tackle some of these topics of understanding the self, knowing your emotions, knowing what's being felt in the body. Everything is so cerebral and academic that we forget about that other part of us that is
Yeah.
there. And then we get people in their 20s and their 30s going like, I don't know what's happening with my life. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody is here to guide me in
Mm-hmm.
any way. But
Yeah,
I know
they've lost their guidance system too because of that arrangement of learning.
exactly. And there's
Yeah.
nobody holding their hand, and it starts to get scary. And especially when a lot of the things are happening in a repetitive way, the
Right.
universe has a way of showing it to you in a more intensified way. So the first time you don't get it, well, it's getting more intense. The second time you don't get it, it's getting even more intense. So
Yeah, you're like, excuse me. Yeah, this is what the problem is. Come look at it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
usually
yeah.
I get my clients who come are the people who have like hit the wall. They're like, I tried everything, I did
Mhm.
everything, nothing is working, I'm stuck in this. What do I do? Where do I go? A doctor
Mm.
can't help me, psychologist can't help me, nobody's able to help me. I've gone to all of them, so where do I go? And this is where I feel this work is so important, in
Yeah.
teaching people how to learn about themselves, how to know who they are. Who is this body? People don't even know every part of their body yet.
That's
There's
isn't
so
it
much of it.
crazy?
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. Like, if I tell you right now, do you know what the bottom of your foot looks like? Probably not really, right?
Yep.
Or if I tell you how many freckles do you have on your arms, can you tell me?
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Mm-hmm.
observe. We don't
Yeah.
take the time, because everything is about go go go, do, accomplish. But it was never about the destination. It was
Yeah.
never about that. It was just about the journey. How can I be incredibly present in
Mm.
every single moment and everything that I do? That's
Yeah.
what's key to this.
I love it. And like you guys just go back and listen to those questions and write them down, because at the beginning, when you started saying how you focus on an individual when you're bringing that perspective of energy and like clairvoyancy and helping them find what is some of the root causes of what they're going through, your approach, which is why I absolutely adore you, is like you're not esoteric. You're like, this is real and your energy is real and you're real. And you have to observe yourself really. You have to be serious and sincere and realistic. And when you start observing through truth questions, which I find like especially the four state questions that you brought up, that you focus on when you're starting, your intentional questions that you're looking at when you're going to work with a client, you guys take those and do that with yourself. Those are very powerful, powerful questions, because people don't ask themselves anything anymore.
No,
They're used to going, they don't know how to hunt anymore. They don't know how to get their own food. They don't know how to think for themselves. They're like, we're so
maybe
programmed
disabled is
and
what it is.
disabled. God, it's crazy, right? So, truth seeking questions, taking initiative, I think that is so key. And I love what you said. And I love the questions you dropped, because that's really powerful. Because
Mhm.
when you're doing it from an energy perspective, and I can share that, like, I understand that, because I'm very similar in how I approach something. What's the highest perspective that I can gain and give the person that will change, make that impact and make a change? Because people always know their truth. So sometimes we forget that you have the power to ask questions. And when you hit a roadblock because you can't get an answer, then yes, you're going to need that support. But don't be so disabled, right? That you don't plug into the fact that you can ask really important, valuable questions of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's huge, because I think people in general don't do that anymore. They don't realize they have choices. They don't realize that they have curiosity that can lead them to like total transformation in seconds. They're like, performing, they're performing, but in whose conditions?
Exactly.
You know, it's not their own anymore. It's like the world's conditions, and this is what you have to do every day, and this is how you have to show up. So it's so important. Like, I love this conversation of consciousness around like being curious and taking power back, like taking your own power back through focus, through intention, through caring, you know, through like, and I hear what you're saying, which is for me super clear. Like, when I work with somebody, the most important thing is my intent to help them make a transformation clearly. You know what I mean? And so it's amazing. The other thing I love about you is like, you're not woo woo. Like, and not that I mind woo woo, everybody, don't freak out. I am woo woo too, but it's more about like consciousness and empowerment is it's a system. It's a reality. It's the way that we focus. We use our rational ability to focus on the results we're looking for and asking the right questions and having the sincere approach. Like, I really care about how I'm living and the things that hurt me and how I'm functioning. That's like a state of grace to me. It's just like, you know, because I think when we're kids, that's what we do naturally.
Yes.
We see how we relate to the world. We listen to everything. We're not listening to like the one thing, we're listening to everything. And that's how we collect our data. But
Yes.
when you're programmed, no, don't do that. Focus on this and focus on society and focus on shopping and focus, like, we lose that natural state.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think this is such an amazing and valuable and important conversation. You know what I mean? Because you're like the cool clairvoyant to me. You're like, yeah, this is real. And, you know, your energy imprints, when we tune into them, there's so much guidance.
Because
There's so much stuff.
there's been just so much taboo about clairvoyant work or
Yeah,
energy work, because they all like have already these pre-made things, and it's all symbolism as well, you know,
that's
it's
right.
in the consciousness, the collective consciousness. But in reality, uh, if you look at the new age spirituality, I
Mhm.
know, I understand every single person who is woo woo, because the woo woo people are the ones who are like, this these shackles of society, I
Yeah,
don't want to be in them anymore,
that's
and I
right.
want to be freed from that. So but the problem is that they go to the other extreme,
That's right.
and what ends up happening is like, okay, now we're shifting from that end of the extreme to this end of the extreme, but it's still not balanced. So it becomes an escape mechanism. Well, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm just going to escape into spirituality. Everything is love and light. Yes, everything is love and light, but do you understand the significance of love? And do you understand the significance of light? It's
Mm,
not just words we're saying, they
that's right.
have meaning to it. And so when you can bring grounding to the spiritual realm, and it's not that you are getting there because you want to escape a certain situation, but instead you
Mm,
look at the situation and go, I'm going to go through this, I'm going
yeah.
to deal with this, and I'm going to deal with the inner demons that come out,
Mhm.
all the self critical part of me, all the
Mhm.
negative shadow side of me that is
Yeah.
surfacing, working through that, you get to that light, you get
That's
to
right.
that extreme,
Mhm.
not to that extreme, but that to that balance instead of that extreme. So
Yeah.
it's really important for even the new age movement or the spiritual work to come back to that balance. It's not too much of this and it's not too much of that. It needs to be in the middle, because we are both. We are the inner masculine and feminine aspects,
That's right.
and when you were talking about the clients coming and being afraid of their own powers,
That's
that's
right.
interesting too. But why are they afraid? Because they don't they don't know how to surrender. Everything everybody has told them in their lives, it was to do, how to do something,
Mm.
and why to do it, and you got to do it like this, and you better do
Yeah.
it in this time frame. They were always given everything,
Mm.
and so when you're given
Mhm.
everything, it disables you.
That's right.
And by the way, for anyone listening, disabled, I know that word is a little trigger word for some people, but I'm using it as really like removing your ability
That's
to
right.
be naturally what you are and to be who you are.
Mm.
So uh, in this society, especially the ones that are like really developed societies, it's all about money and power and get to the top. But life is not about this at all.
No.
It's not. It's, can I just be in this moment? Can I just be in this moment and appreciate what this moment has to bring for me? You know, and it's about even if it looks scary, if it looks scary to dive into those realms and say, well, I don't know if I open my third eye. I've had
Mm.
this question a lot. What will happen to me if
Yeah.
I open the third eye? What will happen? What if I see things that is really overwhelming me? And the answer is very simple. You cannot get or see or feel anything that you cannot handle ever,
Mm-hmm.
because the law of the universe is how you resonate is what is returned back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if your resonation, if you're at radio station 95.9,
Yeah.
well, you're going to hear the music of that station. You're not going to hear the music of 105.7. Sometimes you might, depending on the areas you're driving through, but there might be interference.
Yeah.
But normally, there is nothing that life will give you that
Mm-hmm.
you cannot handle.
Yeah.
So with knowing that, it gives you a little bit more confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to just surrender. I'm going to allow this. And if you have the proper tools also to say, well, I know how to control this as well. If it's too much, I'll shut it off. It's all intention, guys.
That's
It's
right.
all intention and will. If you intend that I don't want to see it like this, you will not see it like this.
That's right.
You are in control.
That's right.
So this is all about empowering us ourselves so that we can get in touch with our deeper abilities, and those abilities as a collective will elevate us to even higher realms.
Mm,
I still feel like we're pretty dormant right now.
me
It's just
too.
now that we're starting to wake
Yeah.
up, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
That's right. I'm with you on that. 100%. It's very clear. Like we're still fighting to get out of like one certain reality as a species. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? That we've created. We
Yeah.
created this reality and now we're like observing it and recognizing, oh, maybe we need to focus on another elevation system because I feel that, we're born with this innate ability
Yeah.
and then we unlearn it. And then, we're taught all kinds of stuff that doesn't really resonate with our natural capacity as a human spiritual being. You know what I mean? So I love this conversation. It's very important and critical because people do not know what you're saying, that they have the intentional capacity to do whatever, to
Mm-hmm.
turn things off, to turn them on, to focus on higher level goals, to change themselves, to transform themselves, to say yes to a healer who can help them, because you have to have a yes on their side. It's technically impossible to heal somebody who doesn't want to receive it. And this is what we don't understand. Like we don't realize that. Why is this always happening to me? Partly because you're willing to receive it, because you don't realize your intentionality, some of the issues you grew up with, what's locked in your subconscious is basically magnetizing to you to bring you back to wholeness, trying to show you like, is this really what you want? Because this is what you're calling. Is this really what you want? Because this is what you're calling. Like, I don't think this is what you want because you keep asking for that incredible relationship, but you keep showing up to saying yes to a certain type of person. It's like the map of the universe is always trying to say to us, okay, this is where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is where you're at right now. Is this what you really want? This is the wonderful, incredible opportunity of intentional building and,
Yeah.
and understanding, right? So I love this. And I think like the other thing I want to talk with you about in particular is about the energy system. And like, so people maybe misunderstand energetics. They don't understand the power of, you know, how energy is propelled and how their energy is constantly trying to communicate, which is how your work works. So, I mean, me too. It's like I'm able to tune into the unseen potential wisdom that's sitting there, or the obstructions that are sitting there and that a person is having trouble seeing. They're just seeing the side effects. Like my life is like this, so I see the side effects, but there's an energy disposition as well. Is there anything, first of all, I want to talk about how you zero in on that. And I think what, you do, which is really wonderful, is you bring practical insight. You're not just saying, okay, here's the thing. You're also helping people release the energy obstacles and helping them understand it so they can make sense of it and then shift it. So
Exactly.
you're supporting the shift and then you're helping them support the shift, right?
Yeah.
We can say it like that.
Yeah.
So talk to me about energy, your perception of energy, because it's really a very important question. Like we've proven that everything is energy, but we don't fully understand that we are energy. And you guys listening, I want you to you really listen to this, because as an energy being, you have so much knowledge at your disposal. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
what's the thing that people can understand about how to start to listen to that, not just wait for the results. Like I'm waiting for the results. So you're saying like they can journal, they can explore themselves, which will help them identify. Are there other things that they can do to look at, and from an energetic perspective, what are they creating in their reality and in themselves? Is there any tips you would give people about that? Like what can they do?
Yeah, and I think the basis of understanding how energy works is that everything is energy and everything is
Mhm.
light. Okay.
Yes.
The holy trinity that we call is electricity, dielectricity, and magnetism. Those
Yes.
three always are working together.
That's right.
Everything you see in existence is working with those dynamics.
Yeah.
If you look at a chair is energy. If you look at a body is energy. If you look at air is energy. Everything you literally are looking at is energy. But we don't see it like that. We see it as like rigid substances. But it's energy that has a certain vibration. Slower vibrations will become physical, whereas higher vibrations will become like air. You can go through it, right? So it's all different dynamics of light. This is all, everything you see is a projection from that light. And that might be a whole different topic to talk about, about how all of this is illusion, and all of this is a whole, this whole life is illusion. This is all theatrics. It's not, nothing is really real. And this, because the source is light, and everything projected from the light is the image of light. So anyway, that's a whole
I
other
got
topic.
you. It's okay. It's good drop in. Well, I'll get you back on, talk more about that. A great drop in.
Yeah. And so when you understand that, you understand the malleability of things. We understand that if I want to change something, it's not, because most people will look at it and be like, well, no, it has never worked for me. It's just luck. This person's lucky, and that's why these things happen to them. I work hard. I do everything the way I'm supposed to do it, but none of this ever happens to me. But it's the equivalent of this. It's like saying I ordered something online to my house, and I believe I ordered it. Okay. But when it comes here, my door is closed. And I say, well, I never got it.
Right.
Well, why? Because my skeptical mind is continuously feeding me this belief system that you're not going to get it. Even though I want it, you're not going to get it. Because underlying that want, there is a blockage there. There is a belief system disabling you from accessing what you are trying to manifest into your life. So it's not just about, oh, I'm going to say it and it's going to happen. It's about, first of all, is it in alignment with you? Is it in alignment with you? Is it really what you want? Because some people will say, I want money.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want the money for? What is it really you want?
That's right.
Is it freedom? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Or is it that you want to buy a new house? Well, why are you manifesting money? Manifest house. Manifest the house. Maybe you don't need money to get the house. Maybe somebody in your family is passing it down to you. Maybe you don't, you know what I mean? Like, go to the core of what is it that you want. Sorry, the topic shifted into manifestation.
That's okay. I like it. I like it. We're good.
Yeah, but in energetic practice, we are made of energy, and we have these energetic centers within our body. But the entire body is made of light. Okay, everything is light. So even what we see as something physical and tangible, it's all light. So when you know how to work with light and how to manipulate light, then you can change and shift anything. Anything is possible in this realm. Whatever is not possible is due to our own limitation of our belief systems, so what was did I answer the question? What was
you did. It's for the first is the conceptualization of what we need to understand from an energy perspective. And it's important, you guys, that you're listening and you're like, okay, so everything is energy, which means like you're a magnetizer all the time. You know what I mean? And if you stay in a subconscious state around that, what you're magnetizing, it's really hard for you to get where you want to go. So what I understand you're saying second is you need to have clarity about what it is that you're trying to get to, what you're trying to create. So the clarity, the true clarity, like, is it really money or is it the house? What is it that you really want? You want clarity about yourself. You want to be released and be more free. And it doesn't have to be just tangible things that you can work in your energy system, because your energy, like, to my understanding from my experiences, the energy system is constantly explaining our obstructions through what it calls towards it. And even like pain and things in the body are representation often of our own constrictions on the inside, our own limits on the inside. So I'm listening to you. I'm like, you do holistic practice to help people, and you do energy work to help them understand what's happening to them, to release that energetic blockage. And then they still have to figure out how to show up to that change. So that's interesting because you also are a coach guiding them on some level too, to say, okay, now we've done this. What's the next phase of growth for you? Because you guys, like, you can, and this is what I've noticed in my practice, because, you know, I share being a clairvoyant with you. I've had so many people over the years be like, just tell me what to do and fix it. I'm like, tell me that I'm going to get what I want. And trying to explain that, you guys, you don't get what you want because a clairvoyant says so. You get what you want because you've created the energetic mapping to call that into your life and you're ready to receive it. Right? A clairvoyant just helps identify where you are, what maybe you have at another level of resources inside yourself. Because, you know, as a clairvoyant, and I've worked with you a bit, I know your gifts. It's like you're looking at levels. You're not looking at one isolated thing that a person is saying, in this dimension, I want money. No, we're looking at money and then all the other obstructions that go along with that, or all the other support that comes along with that in a person's frequency and their energetic dynamic, whether it's in the subconscious, or it's in the belief system, or it's in wherever it is as a component of the person. And it's so important because that everything is energy for sure. Your subconscious is releasing energetic imprints out there. Your brain is, you're consciously focusing on. There's so much going on. And what I try to explain to people over and over again, it's like, you do not ask your body what it's doing. In general, you just have a state of trust that you're in. Your body's breathing for you, it's walking for you, you know, but you're still consciously deciding what to do. And then the body shows up to it. There's no difference from your desired goals as a soul or as a person, or transformations that you want to make, or things that you desire. There's no difference. It's just that the system it's not plugged in anymore. Somehow we've unplugged ourselves, just like what you said before too about the body. I think that's very important. Like, people today don't know how their body functions. They don't even know what's happening. They don't know how the messages are being sent. We just take it for granted that that's what's happening. So we don't necessarily honor the temple and learn to listen to it with this exquisite ear that gives so much more about what's needed, where we are, what's like obstructed, what to be grateful for. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for, how much the body is just holding the space for our soul and our consciousness to like deliver itself to the world. Like, these are things for me that I hold so deep in my heart. And I think just that perceptive change, like, this is how you could think, you guys, from here on in. You could start thinking the way we're talking about, right? And the way Claire is explaining it, like, you can look at yourself in this way, and what a great springboard for the rest. You know, you're an energy being, you're made of light. Let's see how your light's functioning. You know what I mean? Is there some shadow? Is it dim? Is it really moving? Is it grooving? And then self-awareness, like coming in, like, come in, right? Come in.
And also accountability.
Yes.
That's the reason when most people, like you were saying, that come and say, well, do it for me. No, because if you do it, then you're disempowering them. Because and this is the danger of also clairvoyance or coaches or whatever, because it can also become very addictive.
That's right.
Where the person is not doing anything, they're just coming to you, showing up, saying, okay, clear me. That's right. Well, we can do it. But am I helping you? No. What I'm doing is perpetuating the problem. That's what I'm doing. And this is why, even for my clients, I tell them, I don't want you to constantly come to me. I don't want you to come to me. I want you to come to me when you have tried everything and you're at that blockage.
Right on.
You don't come to me because, oh, you know, you're starting to feel a little, you know. No, you need to be working on yourself. You are accountable for your life. You are accountable for this body. And it's scary for people because, again, we don't have the tools. Nobody taught us how to listen. Nobody taught us how to be in that inner feminine, the receptive. If I just shut everything off and I just breathe, what happens in my body? What happens? Which parts of me are lighting up? Which parts of me are showing pain? What's going on? Why is it going on like this? Nobody is looking at that. Nobody is going like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be accountable. I'm going to deal with this myself. Why? Because it's a lot. It is a lot to deal with. And I don't blame them. It is a lot. And plus, we've been stripped away from the tools. So you have all of that, and you go kind of like, and this is, and I'm gonna get real here. We're all looking for that mother or father figure. That's it. So when you're finding that healer, it's like saying, oh, are you my mommy? Can you take care of me now? Because we do need that affection. We do need that caring. But the problem is that it has to come from us first.
That's right.
Everything else has to be the bonus, the cherry on the top. It can't be that we are so dependent on somebody outside of ourselves, because the minute
Mm,
that person is not there, we crumble.
that's right.
This is not how to live, because then you are not honoring your soul and what you came here to do. Your
That's right.
soul came here to experience life in different various ways. But if
Mm,
you are constantly going to somebody else for information, constantly somebody else doing it for you, constantly for whatever it is, also not even just energy work, but constantly you going out to get food and buy food instead of cooking food, you going out and getting that coffee instead of you making the coffee, you
mm,
getting somebody to mow your lawn instead of you mow your lawn. And not
mm,
to say that we shouldn't do that. We could do that if it makes our life simple, but I'm saying bringing time to time that accountability to say, let me do this, let me do this and
mm,
feel how this feels, and being in the present moment, not doing it while I'm thinking about what I'm going to do grocery shopping in a half an hour. Being present in the moment.
mm.
When I'm cooking, looking at, it's funny. The other day, I just ordered this beautiful gluten-free rosemary and olive bread from one of my friends here. She locally makes that.
Okay.
And I just adore that bread. And I opened it up, and I swear I opened the loaf. It was this beautiful loaf of bread, and I put my hands on it, and I
Mm,
started getting tears.
mm.
I started getting tears because all of me felt
Oh,
so grateful
oh,
for the process that went into making this
oh, yeah.
beautiful bread. And now I'm touching it and I'm feeling it, and I'm honoring the fact that the energy of this bread is going to go in my body and give
Oh,
me
so
all the
good.
yummy nutrition that I need. And
So good.
it's in the little things. It's in the
Hmm.
what you give attention to, what you give meaning to
Yeah.
ignites. That's what magic is. That's what magic
Yes.
is.
Yes.
What you give meaning and attention to, that's what ignites. So if you're giving meaning and attention to yourself, and you're saying, you know what,
Mm,
I feel like shit, my life is going downhill, I've hit a wall, but I'm just
mm,
gonna sit here for a second and love myself and say, wow, look at you, after all of this, look at everything I've done, with all
mm,
the failures, with all the successes, look
mm.
at where the hell I am right now.
Yes.
I should be proud of myself. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate who I am as a person,
Mm,
even if I'm not uh, at the maximum expectation of where I feel I need to be,
yeah.
which is also, that's the perfectionist in us. That's also a type of neurosis. But coming back to the simplicity in this moment, how can I
Mm,
just be here and just make everything around me as a part of myself? Everything I touch, everything I see is a
mm,
part of me. And when that becomes a part of you, naturally you want to be
yeah.
responsible for it. Naturally
Yeah.
you want to take care of it and love it.
Yes.
So when we're distracted with our minds, we forget about this. And that's why we don't want to be responsible and love it. But when we bring attention and we notice, wow, when I do this, this doesn't feel good to me. So if I don't want to feel like this anymore, then I have to change it. I have to respect my body and respect my limitations and respect my energy. That's what it comes down to. When we can find ourselves in the little things, that's how slowly we shift the energy in every aspect of our life to follow that alignment.
I love it. So special. An extraordinary conversation. I
Mm.
think it's so nice to be refreshed and just remind people of how it all starts and what foundations we have to start with, because if we talk about it honestly, like that's what we were when we were born. We were just that in the present moment. There was nothing else to do but be in the present moment and look around, and coming back to that, except deliberately being and igniting energy through gratitude and through being in the presence of everything that you're getting, you're doing, you're receiving, that you're going to nourish yourself with. What an unbelievable start. Because like I'm listening to you talk and my hair's standing on end. I mean, and this is like, we can say, oh, that could be a simple practice, but it's not. It's meaningful. And this is how it all starts. Like if you can get into that place of present moment and see what's in front of you, we get so much more nourished by it. We hear our needs so much more deeply. We find this place of resonance that's so much more enlightening and advancing. You know what I mean? It's like you're not just in your judgment, in the negative things that we think of that you've been trained to think. You know what I mean? Because you're saying untrain yourself. Like you're used to like going at a pace and moving. realize what's happening in your life.
Mhm.
Realize like the impact that has happened or the miracle that happened. Like if you take a minute and you think about what's going on in your body, your possibilities, you went like your clients that went to see you to help themselves. Do they walk away recognizing and remembering like, good, you did that for yourself? Like ignite that gratitude and feel grateful for who you are. Like this is like, it's like music to my ears. Really
Absolutely.
music to my ears. Yeah.
And the more you model that, also the people around you will benefit from first your
Yeah.
energy, and from seeing you do that, they will also start to think, well, maybe I can try this, and
Mhm.
maybe it'll shift something in me as well. So that gratefulness is just so, I hear often people say, yeah, well, it's easy to say, but I
Yeah.
can't. I have this. I have so many kids I have to deal with. I have work I have to deal with. I can't because I have my father to take care of. He's sick, and there's a million excuses, and they are excuses, even though they are valid, even though they
Yeah.
do take up energy and space in your life, and it's beautiful. It's fine,
Mhm.
but in the end, if you cannot be there for yourself, then you cannot be there for anything else. It's as
Mm.
simple as that. And I
Yeah.
always give this example. If my cup is not full of water, I cannot give to you, I cannot give to the other person, I cannot give to the other person. This
Mm.
has to be always full.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what am I giving? It's like going to see somebody, or anybody who offers a service, and the person says to you, well, you know what, today I'm like 10%, I'm gonna do what I do, but only 10%, like not
Mhm.
100%, because I can't. What would
Mhm.
you say? You say no, like I'm here, I want the 100%, I don't want the
Yeah.
10%. Well, this is what we're constantly doing with our family members, with our friends, with ourselves. We're constantly thinking, oh well, we have to do this, we have to give, we have to be there, we have to. But what part of you are you giving? You're giving the 10%. And not only that, you're also harboring resentment, frustration, anger, because
Mhm.
you're already depleted. So at some point, we have to stop and be like, okay,
Yeah.
now the focus is going to be me. Everything is going to come back to me. I'm going to work on uh, empowering myself,
Mm.
bringing the energy back. If I need rest, I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to scroll on my Facebook. If I need to, if I need some change of mind, I'm going to go walk outside. I'm not going to watch TV. And this is hard because it's patterns we're breaking.
That's
And
right.
it's just like, just go and do it. Don't even think about it. Just grab your coat and go. Do it. And these are the little gestures that you're going to do that's going to impact, and then it's going to refresh you. So when you
Mm.
do want to come to your kids, to your wife, to your husband, to your parents, to your work,
Yeah.
you're coming in with a full, refreshed version of you, not
Mhm.
a portion of you.
Yes.
And that's also important, because people think, well, my kids come first. No, your kids shouldn't come first. You
Mhm.
should come first. And I know
Mhm.
it's not the conventional way of thinking, but it's true.
Yeah.
How can you be there for your kids if you're in a depleted state, angry, frustrated already? And what happens? You start to yell at the kid. Some people smack their
That's
kids.
right. That's
Some
right.
people discipline them. They're not listening. They're not behaving. Why are they not behaving? Why are they not listening? Because I'm
Mm.
not present, because
That's right.
I'm not there as that inner feminine to
Mhm.
hold that space for them to express to me what the real issue is here. you
Mm.
know and
So
so
good.
but I can't do that from a depleted state, because I don't have the patience for it, I don't have the energy for it. So
Yeah, it's great. And people don't realize they're depleted, right?
exactly, they
They
don't
don't
realize.
realize that.
They're just
Mhm.
constantly, if you're constantly frustrated, guys, if you're constantly tired, you are depleted.
That's right.
Simple as that.
That's right. And outside in is more important than inside out. And that's part of the ripple effect for everything around you and in your life. And it's awful because you see mothers who really just always wanted to have children, having children, then they're totally disruptive. Like
Yeah.
it's the children are disrupting their life. They're not happy about it. And they forgot the original true heart intention of having a child. They've
Yeah.
lost themselves in all this negative imagery and, this way of being that doesn't work.
The
It really
cultural
doesn't work.
the cultural pressures, the cultural
Yeah.
belief systems, societal belief systems,
Yep.
and every kid should not be dealt in the same way.
Oh
Every
yeah.
kid we have to tune ourselves to that child.
Yeah.
We cannot just copy paste these mannerisms on them either.
I love it. So good. And that's like, it doesn't matter what age, right? It
Exactly.
doesn't matter what age, like, because like for sure the children are one thing, and that helps them. Any child that we're helping have positive energetics and be nourished because we're nourished ourselves, it's the same. That continues with them at any age. They build a certain standard of living by understanding presence and understanding present moment and understanding sharing and contribution and conversations that are beyond what I want.
Yes.
It's like, what can I nourish? What can I give? How can we exchange? The framework completely changes, and then we change our society because we're not thinking in the same old way. The simple, what about me? What about me way? We're like, what about everybody?
Yes.
Because we're nourished. The what about me comes from depletion.
Exactly.
It's totally a depletion mechanism for sure. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So good.
It's like we need this like huge, and this is what when people talk about the masculine, the patriarchal system now starting to
Mhm,
shift into matriarchal system,
mhm.
because the suppression of the feminine and all of that now is trying to be reversed and all that. But this is not just in terms of the society, but also within us as well. We are all wanting and salivating and waiting for that mother figure to hold us, to love us, to take care of us, because we're so depleted, we're so maxed out in
Yes.
every way possible.
Yep.
Even our parents, even their parents, everybody's trying to do their best, but nobody's stopping to say, how can I do this for me first? If I
Mm,
can do this for me first,
yep.
then I can do this for others as well, and
Yeah.
others can benefit from it. We just
I
need
love
this
it.
huge mother figure. I feel like we need this huge mother figure statue that emanates this motherly energy
For
for everyone.
sure.
But it's that's not something that's there. So we have to manifest that within us. We have to summon that inner feminine, and it will be scary, and things will come up that we don't want to see. And as long as we stay in the observer, in the witness, watching it like a movie playing itself out in front of us,
Mhm.
then we will be able to see without judgment. And then when we see, then we have the option of doing something
I
about it.
love it.
If we
So
don't
good.
see, we can't. If we
Yep.
don't see, if we're not aware, you can't. If I have if I have a pen on the floor and I don't know that that pen is on the floor, what
Mhm.
will happen? Nothing. I can't do anything about it. I have no options. I haven't seen it. But if I have a pen on the floor and I see it, then
Mm.
I could look at it and be like, okay, what do I do? Now I have options. Do I pick it up? Do I leave it there? Do I ask somebody else to pick it up? So
Mm.
options only come, availability only comes when you are aware of something. So as long as you're not aware, life is just gonna happen to you.
That's right.
You're gonna feel like that. Of course, it's all resonance anyway. You're vibrating a certain way, and it's coming back to you. And we see it as, well, life is happening to me.
Mhm.
Whereas it's us who are the catalyst and us who are the manifestors. So if we bring that awareness and we know exactly what is in our alignment and what is it we want as an experience in this life, we are allowed to have that, and we can manifest that. And when we
Mm.
manifest that, it has no other choice but to come back to us. It has
That's
no
right.
other choice.
I love it. Such a great point and such a wonderful point about, the patriarchal experience, which is all about do, get what you need, get hungry, hustle, this whole energy, and then this nurturance that needs to come in. Like, we know how to nurture. It's like we are made of feminine and masculine energy. You know what I mean? It's not about male, female. It's just about how important nurturance is. Like, we think about, like, parents as an example, healthy parents that are evolved, and you have to have both sides. You have to have the male and female to give a really good life to a child. They one is not more important than the other. They have to come together, which I love, because that's really what we need to focus on as spiritual beings, as humanity, to just realize, like, nurturance has lost its place,
That's
and
right.
it's a fundamental value, and it's a fundamental need to feel nurtured by what we eat, by what we do, by how we feel, by who we share with, by what we're contributing, what's contributing back to us. I mean, it's huge. And I love that you brought this up, because I just feel like it's so important for us to get away from that depletion and make that an important priority, to bring nurturance back to ourselves through practices like we've been talking about, especially for those of you that are, like, kind of new to this conversation. which is really cool because this is a clairvoyant conversation with two practical people, which is so good because it really is. It makes it norm, to realize like this is just because we can, you see more about the evolution and you're able to tune in with the different levels of a person, so can they. Now, you may not be clairvoyant, but you definitely have the ability to focus on yourself and then different levels. So I'm just so grateful we had this conversation. You're amazing. I'm really excited to share you with everybody. You guys, her links are all going to be available in the description. You can definitely connect with Klara. She's amazing, and just you can see a very practical, dynamic woman of the spiritual realm and the energy healing realm. So very excited. Is there any closing notes like you want to share with people?
I mean, I would say, no matter what is going on outside of your world and
Mm,
whatever chaos, whatever waves that you feel like is hitting you right now, know that all is
mm,
malleable, all is changeable, and as long as you can
so good.
bring the focus back within, and what I mean by that is really pay attention to your body, to your
Mm,
emotions, to your mind, what's happening. Just paying attention will shift you in ways that you could never ever imagine. And I'm no special person, and you are no special person, Lisa.
right.
We're incredibly special, and we're also not special. We're
That's
all
right.
we're that dualistic, the feminine, masculine, the
That's
evil,
right.
the good. All
I'm
of
a
it
grain of
exists in
sand.
this realm.
Yep. Yep.
All of it exists. And so that the two extremes and everything in between were all of that. So can we just accept ourselves the way we are, even if we don't change anything? Bringing acceptance and love to that
Mm,
inner child, to that person that still exists in us, that wants to be happy, that wants to
mm.
be good and peaceful.
So good.
Just
So
trying to do that on a daily basis. Make a practice of it if necessary. One, if
love
you
it.
change one little thing, already it's something.
It is something. And like, that's a great permission statement. So all of you now have permission to like dive into yourselves. Okay. We want to offer that. Like, please, it'll be the greatest blessing that you give yourself. It really will. So thank you so much for hanging out. And I definitely want you to come back on the show so we can blast out some clairvoyant fun and go to another level in the conversation. I'm so happy to introduce you to everybody. And you're just wonderful. I deeply appreciate the way you think, the way you've developed yourself in this realm of work that we share. You're just extraordinary, and I'm so grateful and happy that you're out there doing what you're doing, because we really need that. We really need you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for being here. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all really soon. Bye.
Yes. Bye.